Okay, on to homework number 7. This is the last homework that will be on the first exam. So let's jump into it. It's over percentages and decimals. So express the following fraction as a decimal and as a percentage. So the tricky one with this is students tend to round before they should. So 10 divided by 13 is, well, I'm not quite sure, so let's see. 10 divided by 13 is 0.769230769 blah 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 blah. So the decimal for this, type an integer or decimal rounded to 2 decimal places as needed. So 2 decimal places would be this decimal place, and 9 is enough to round up to 6. So the decimal we will enter is 0.77. Now, the percentage, again, this percentage also needs to be rounded to 2 decimal places, and what students tend to do is round the 6 up to a 7 and then enter in the percentage of 77%. That is not correct. What you do want to do is take this decimal that we just produced and write it as a percentage, which says move this decimal place 2 spots to the right. So this would be 76.923076.9%. Well, we want to round this percentage to 2 decimal places. Here's our second decimal place of the percent. 3 is not enough to round up my 2, so it'd be 76.92%. 76.92% is already there. Moment of truth. Ayo, we got it. All right. Let's do one more for practice. 2 over 3 is 0.66666, repeating forever and ever and ever. So the decimal rounded to 2 decimal places. 6 is enough to round up, so the decimal will enter 0.67. Now again, this isn't commonplace to round to 2 decimal places. That is what we're told within this problem. That is why I'm rounding to the second decimal place. Now we want to write this as a percentage, so this would be 66.66666, repeating forever and ever, percent. We want to round our percent to the second decimal place, so we'll write 66.67%. All right, moment of truth. Got it. Nice. Similar song and dance on this one. Express the given fraction as a decimal and a percentage. What is the decimal form of 5 over 8? Well, push it to your calculator. 5 divided by 8. 0.625. 0.625. Nice, we got it. What is the percentage form of 5 over 8? Well, to go from a decimal to a percentage, we multiply that decimal by 100, which is exactly what we were doing when we were moving this decimal place 2 spots to the right. Moving the decimal place 2 spots to the right is exactly the same as multiplying by 100. So we get 62.5 as our percentage. 62.5, recognize. Nowhere in here does it say to round, so hence why we are not rounding. These purple parentheses are very important to take note of. There's so many headaches. So many headaches that can be alleviated if you carefully read these purple parentheses before you start the problem. I should probably practice what I preach as well. So, okay. Same old song and dance here. Same old. All right, here's something a little different. Compare the following pair of numbers, A and B, in 3 ways. So A is 8, B is 4. A is 8, B is 4. For part A, we want find the ratio of A to B. So the ratio of A to B would be 8 over 4. Right, the ratio of A to B says take A divided by B. The ratio of A to B, type an integer or a simplified fraction. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say 4? I meant 2. 8 divided by 4 gives you 2. The ratio of B to A, so part B, we want B to A, so that'd be 4 over 8, which simplifies to a half. Divide the top by 4, gives you 1. Divide the bottom by 4, gives you 2, hence the 1/2. Integer or simplified fraction, 1 divided by 2. A is blank percent of B. A is blank percent of B. So, and I guess let's go ahead and explicitly state that's 2. So A is blank percent of B, says take the ratio of A to B and then make that number into a percent. So C says A is blank percent of B. We'll recognize A is twice as much as B, so that would say it's 200%. Another way to look at that would be A is blank percent of B. You're really finding the ratio of A to B. So the ratio of A to B is 2, and then multiply by 100 to get the percentage. To see that's 200%. 200% also known as twice as much. Got it. All right. Similar. I'll let you try this one out. Find the ratio of A to B, B to A. A is blank percent of B. Same old song and dance from the last one. A is blank percent of B. Again, similar story. You're finding the ratio of A to B, B to A, and then recognize A is blank percent of B. That is saying find the ratio of A to B and then multiply by 100. All right, something different. Will is 27% taller than Wanda, so Will's height is blank percent of Wanda's height. Okay. So, how can we phrase this where it would make sense? Will is 27% taller than Wanda. So if Will was 0% taller than Wanda, what would that mean? Well, if Will is 0% taller than Wanda, that would say he's exactly the same height as Wanda. So that would say he's 100% of her height, right? If he's 0% taller, that would say he's exactly the same height as Wanda. So if you're 0% taller, that's 100% of Wanda's height. So if you're 27% taller than Wanda, that would mean you're 127% of Wanda's height. Right? To be 27% taller means you're the same height plus an extra 27%. Being the same height is 100%. And then you're 27% taller, so you're 127% of Wanda's height. The population of city A is 24% less than the population of city B. So A's population is blank percent of city B's. So recognize if the population of city A was 50% less than the population of city B, it would mean city A has a population half the size of city B, which would say you're 50% of the population. So how do you manage with 24%? Well, the population of city A is 24% less than the population of city B. Well, 24% less, 100 minus 24, well, that says you're 76% of city B's population. Right? If city A has 100% of the population of city B, that would say they're the same population. Saying 24% less is really saying population is 76% of. So 24% less means 76% of. So to get that, I simply took 100 minus the 24. All right, and that ends the section on percentages and decimals. This sums up the topics that will be covered on exam number 1. All right, see you on the other side.